Hello and welcome to the live stream. Today we are doing something, I guess, a little bit different, and it's kind of quite a special live stream in a number of ways, really. First of all, it marks 4 years since I did my first live stream on YouTube, almost to the day, in fact, the 13th of May. And that was, the start of really quite an incredible and unexpected journey that I've been on in that time, and unexpected for so many reasons. But when I started, I didn't necessarily imagine that this would be my sort of full-time gig as we are 4 years later. And it kind of evolved in many ways organically to begin with, and then a little bit more direction in the later years. But it's also the start of something new, and it's kind of funny that this background that I've got is in fact just a green screen background. It's the background that I was using in my original basement studio when I first started on YouTube with Take One Tech. But now here I am in a new temporary studio space, and I'm going to be here for a couple of weeks. We've just done a big house move, and I'm moving into a new studio space next week or the week after. And so this is back to my temporary background, but it also marks the start of a brand new channel. So if you're watching this on the Take One Tech YouTube channel, I do have another channel that I'm streaming this to, and this is technically the first video on that channel as well. And that channel is called the Digital Stage Launchpad, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. It's all about Kajabi essentially, and it's about separating off different aspects of everything that I'm doing with the Digital Stage Academy and different I guess topics that I cover in there. So yes, there is the tech, but there's also the business building side, and there is in fact a third channel, Digital Stage Business, but I'll talk about that in a little bit of time as well. Thought it might be useful to just take a quick look back at the sort of journey, if you like, on YouTube, because I certainly could have accelerated the process if I had known now what, or if I'd known then what I know now, of course. And that's part of the reason for the new channel, to help people accelerate their progress and sort of cut some of the corners or take some of the shortcuts that I wish I'd known existed when I started. So starting out on May the 13th, as I say, 2021, that was my first video on YouTube. And I actually set myself the goal of doing 100 videos in 100 days. And that was just to practice this process of making videos in one take with no edits. Obviously, this is a live stream, but all of my recorded content on the channel, still, I get people despite the name, who don't necessarily make that connection because it's not immediately obvious. But Take One Tech is all about making videos in one take. And really, it was just a test bed for me to practice this process. That's why I set up the channel. But as I say, it kind of evolved into a full-blown business, and now this is what I do all the time. So I created my first dedicated course about a year later. So that was April 2022, and that was the Ecamm Live Masterclass. And part of the reason for that was I was making lots of Ecamm content on the channel, because after the 100 videos in 100 days, I put out a stretch target of 365 in a year. And I was making lots of Ecamm videos, but what I found was they were quickly becoming out of date because new features would be added and so on. And I always felt that it's a little bit difficult to fully educate yourself using the University of YouTube. I mean, I do it a lot myself. However, you never quite know whether the information's up to date. You never quite know whether you've captured it all. There tends to be lots of short little videos giving you like a little piece of the jigsaw. And I thought, well, it'd be much better if there was just the all-encompassing Ecamm masterclass video. And so I did actually create a 4.5 hour one take video on my channel, which I think still gets views really, which is a bit worrying because it's certainly out of date by now. But that was a 4.5 hour one take video. I say one take, I think I pressed pause halfway through because my little son ran in at some point. But basically it was a one take video. And that was kind of the start to finish, how to go from just opening up Ecamm to having it completely set up and running, integrating it with Stream Deck and all the other things. But the thing about that was, despite the fact that it was viewed many times, that of course became out of date very quickly as well when they introduced new features. So that was kind of the motivation for me, really, starting with the Ecamm Live Masterclass and creating small little bite-sized videos that I could sort of swap in and out as things changed. So then in 2022, that started a sort of chain of events with, or chain of courses, I suppose, with the Ecamm Masterclass. Then later I released the Zoom, Roadcaster, and then Stream Deck Masterclass later that year as well. So then with kind of building up a library of courses effectively, and I did have a membership, I suppose I started on Discord, like a community that was around about that time as well in 2022. And then I wanted to create a sort of membership that included all the courses and so on. And so that's when I launched the Take One Tech Academy, as it was called then, in 2023. So about a year later after that. And really, for the past 2 years, I've kind of been building out that. So you will have noticed on the Take One Tech channel, if you have been following along from the beginning, obviously there was a load of content going out in that first year or so, where it was pretty much a video a day. And then it sort of dropped off somewhat around about 2 years ago. And that's because I was just focused on building out all the courses, building out the academy. And I had a vision at that point of, where things were going and what I wanted to do with it. And so, yeah, just been really focused on kind of off the or out of the public facing stuff on YouTube and other platforms, and just really focused in on building the academy, the membership, and everything around that. Changed the name of the Take One Tech Academy to Digital Stage Academy, and that's where all of my things now are using that little name. So all the events have that in the name. And I suppose you could say the sort of culmination of it then would be that in March of this year, did the Digital Stage Summit. So that's a 3-day summit with whatever it was, 42 people involved in that, from speakers, commentators, panelists, and yeah, it was just a huge 3-day event for me, at least, to put something on like that, and to think that that was the sort of culmination of that 4 years was for me quite a really nice personal thing to have. Many of the speakers and people involved in it were people that I'd looked up to as I was on my way starting out 4 years ago, and to have them coming in and speaking at the event was just really a nice sort of full circle moment for me. I've got big plans for the rest of the year as well, and into next year with other events, similar events, but other types of event as well. And yeah, lots going on. But one of the things that I've always been conscious of, and I've talked about this many times on the channel before, is this idea of having a niche on a YouTube channel. And I think some people take this to an extreme where they just like hyper focus in on one particular thing, and that can certainly work. If you're just doing exclusive content on just one specific thing, I mean, it could be just like a Stream Deck channel, for example. And I've often said that if I did just focus in on just purely Stream Deck on this Take One Tech channel, then I would likely grow a lot faster, because it would be hyper niche. But I do want to be more broad than that. I do want to cover all of the tech and everything. But there's been a couple of things that I've always felt that didn't really necessarily sit right on the channel. And yes, it could be considered that it's a channel for everything that I cover in the Digital Stage Academy, for example, which covers things like Kajabi, covers business, covers all sorts of different things, not just specifically the tech. But I just feel like at the moment the time is probably right to start separating out these different things, because if Take One Tech remains solely focused more on the tech, the studio gear and things like that, but then certainly Kajabi is much more of a niche thing. And I think that probably there are folks that watch the Take One Tech YouTube channel, and when my thumbnails come up in their feed, and then there's one about Kajabi, if you're not interested in Kajabi, I get it, that you're not going to want to click on that. But that obviously all does indirectly feed into the algorithm, and YouTube is noticing when they present a thumbnail, who is clicking on it, and whether they are clicking on other things and so on. And if they've watched a previous video, then are they clicking on the next one? So there is a point at which I have got to think to myself, well, there are probably some things that I should just sort of separate out. And that's kind of what this new channel is all about. It is all about Kajabi in particular. So if you're looking to build a business online using Kajabi, then this new channel, Digital Stage Launchpad, is going to have all of those tutorials. And I've got a program that I'm running with the same name as well, the Digital Stage Launchpad. I'll talk about that separately, but that's basically a free program to sign up to if you sign up to Kajabi with my affiliate link. But what I'm doing is I'm separating out all of what would have been behind not necessarily a paywall, but behind a closed wall in terms of a Kajabi course. And I'm actually putting all of the Kajabi tutorial content just onto YouTube and making that available for free. What I'm focused on with the training, though, is more about the sort of how you go about setting up the business. So I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later as well. But basically this past 3 years, though, 4 years on YouTube, but the past 3 years has been about this building of a business entirely on Kajabi. That's where I started. Now, I have introduced other platforms along the way as well. So I did migrate my email out to ConvertKit, for example. There's a couple of things I do with video search and AI and so on that I use another platform for called membership.io. But essentially, Kajabi is an all-in-one platform. And I have made courses before. So when I started... I guess when I started on YouTube, it was for the process of making these videos in one take with no edits. And the reason was I was trying to make a course completely separate to Take One Tech for another business that I was involved in. And at that time, we were using a whole different series of tools. So we were using ClickFunnels for sales funnels. We were using ClickFunnels also actually for the courses that we were creating as well. So you could do courses in there, although ClickFunnels themselves didn't host them. So you needed to pay for a different service, Wistia, to host your videos on that. You could technically do it on YouTube, but Wistia's just got better sort of back end and privacy protection, not privacy protection, copyright protection or whatever. It makes it harder for people to download them, basically. So we use Wistia for the videos. Then I needed to send out bulk emails. So although you could send those through ClickFunnels, we used Mailgun, which was this sort of mail delivery system in the back end. And there was a whole series of different things that we felt like we were just sort of bolting together to create this this business effectively. And so when I discovered Kajabi, it was like really just felt like an all-in-one system. And actually for their video hosting, they use Wistia as the back end, even though you don't sort of pay for it separately. It's just that's what they run their back end on. And so it felt like this really integrated system. And what was funny to me is whereas ClickFunnels was very much, you know, they are a sales funnel platform that also have courses that you can run on it as well. Although Kajabi is kind of the opposite, it's a very much a courses first platform, but you can create websites and sales funnels. The sales funnel capabilities and website capabilities are far superior in my view to ClickFunnels in any case. So it was kind of just felt like a really great platform. And so I do often hear people say Kajabi is expensive because, you know, if you're on I guess the mid tier is like $200 or whatever it is a month. And I get it, you know, when we're looking at monthly subscriptions, then that could be, you know, certainly a high one when you're looking at just starting out. What I will say to that is it's when you look at everything that you're getting for it, it represents, for me at least, I think tremendous value when you compare it to, you know, how I was doing things before, for me at least, and all the capabilities it has. There is also a thing that really what you need is a bit of time in the run up so that you're not just starting, you don't just think, oh, I'm going to start a business, let me sign up to Kajabi, and then you're, you know, paying $200 a month, and maybe it takes you, you know, I don't know how long, maybe 3 or 6 months to actually get something off the ground. And I certainly know that there's people who've got Kajabi subscriptions who aren't really monetizing it, and yet it's going to be, you know, a big hit every month if you're not actually using it effectively. Now, what I did with Kajabi when I started was I actually created the Ecamm Live Masterclass before even fully signing up to Kajabi. So I think I was sort of partway through the recording or the planning of it before I switched. So previously the Take One Tech website was just a Squarespace site. So I still had a sort of online presence, but I got everything ready for the course, the Ecamm Live Masterclass, the first one, and yeah, basically signed up to the Kajabi trial, which was 14 days or a month, I think, at the time, and basically had the course launched before even my first payment went out. So if you've got some time to spend on Kajabi before, or on the preparation, I should say, before you actually have to start paying for it, you have got the opportunity to then be monetizing before anything, you know, starts going out effectively. Now, there is a way that you can do that with a 30-day free trial, but Kajabi are running at the moment through to the 23rd of May, so in just over a week, I guess, with where you can get 3 months, I should say, for $99. So basically $33 a month. And in that time, if you can get everything all set up and running, then you could be monetized effectively by the end of that 3-month period. And that's really what this new channel is about, is to give people that education. But it's also what the program that I'm running by the same name is all about, the Digital Stage Launchpad. So I'll just tell you about that a little bit and why it's certainly an improvement on my previous Kajabi programs, because I have run the Kajabi Accelerator, which is was previously a 2-week program, and it was one of our Digital Stage Academy members, Brian, who brought this to my attention, which was, when you're starting on something like Kajabi and you're learning a new platform, actually the platform isn't the thing. Learning how to create a website or create an offer, or build out a course structure or whatever in Kajabi, that's only like just the tip of the iceberg, really, when it comes to creating a business on Kajabi. Actually, what you need is all of the other things that go around it, like the ideation, the thinking about the target audience and how do you promote it, and all of these other different components that go into building a business, let alone actually recording the content, and creating any presentations that you need to incorporate, how to structure things. So that's really where the necessity is when it comes to starting an online business. And I'll say that it was probably a failing of mine in the previous Kajabi Accelerator, where I was focused too much on just like the technical aspect, because that's the way that my brain works, is like, how do I do this specific task? And so what I've done then is I've created this thing called the Digital Stage Launchpad. And given that you get 3 months for Kajabi for $99, this ties directly into that, which is that if you sign up to Kajabi using my affiliate link, then you get access to all of this training completely free, because I'm then fully incentivized to help you succeed on Kajabi, because that I don't really get anything. I suppose technically I do, because the Kajabi affiliate program is you basically get 30% recurring commission on anybody that you refer to Kajabi. But it means that, so from a $99 for 3 months, I'd effectively get $33. Well, as you'll see, this is way more than $33 worth of value. It wouldn't be worth my time doing it for that, but it certainly would be, on an ongoing basis, if you grow your business and stay on Kajabi for the long term. And that's really how that's where my motivation lies with this, is for you to be staying on Kajabi and thriving for as long as possible. So what I've created then is as I say, the Digital Stage Launchpad, and it consists of a number of things, really. First of all, there is the Kajabi Accelerator, and that's a 12-week program, actually with a 2-week break in the middle, but it's 12 weeks. And what that is going to be focused on is not actually Kajabi itself. All of the Kajabi tutorials will be on the Digital Stage Launchpad YouTube channel, and that means they'll be freely available. So if you're just interested in using Kajabi technically, and you've maybe already got a Kajabi account, all the content will be free on YouTube for that. What the accelerator is about, though, is about all these other aspects that go into it, like planning your course, like figuring out your target audience, like figuring out how to create landing pages that convert, and all of these different types of things. It's more about that aspect. And the reason why it's a 12-week program, obviously it ties in with Kajabi's 3 months for $99, but it's also about, there's no point in doing a 2-week intensive, cramming session where you're just, learning all how to do everything on Kajabi, and then coming out of it after 2 weeks thinking, okay, right now I've got to go and actually build a business on this. The point is that over the 12 weeks, it's structured so that we take things step by step, and it's more about the sort of higher level things that you need to be putting into place here. And we have a live session on a Monday, and then there's also a live session on a Friday. And the Monday session is about is tuition, basically the sort of practical steps that need to be taken during that week. And then the Friday is just kind of like a group session, which is a lot more freeform. It's just like a kind of weekly check-in to see how everyone's doing, and if anything needs sort of wrapping up from that week. And then in the second week, then we move on to the next step. But all the time, though, there are also technical tutorial videos going out on the YouTube channel by the same name, the Digital Stage Launchpad YouTube channel. There is obviously a point, though, where you need to actually create the content. So it fits in quite nicely, though, with the schedule. So we start on the 26th of May with the Kajabi Accelerator. But as I say, there's a bit of a break midway through, actually on the 28th of July, when I'll be running this 2-week intensive Ecamm Accelerator course. And that will be just around about the right time when in the 12-week Accelerator for Kajabi, you'll be needing to actually create that video content. I make all my videos in one take with no edits, as you know by now, on YouTube, but also in my courses, and Ecamm Live is the software that I use that. So this ties in nicely with that. And if you're signed up to the Digital Stage Launchpad, you get access to both of these courses. So it's going to give you the tools you need to plan out your course, create your course, but then also do all of the recording and everything like that. And then after this has finished on the 8th of August, you've still got some time then to actually then do the launch process. Obviously, lots of work will have been done up front in those first weeks. But then on the back end, you'll be able to actually go through the whole launch process and have everything ready to go. So that's the kind of the idea behind the course. But what I'm also doing is giving a one-to-one session as well as part of this too, and also giving access to the Academy VIP tier for the 3 months. So the Academy VIP is the top tier of the Digital Stage Academy. It gives access to weekly office hours sessions as well. And as I say, if you sign up to Kajabi with my affiliate link for that 3 months of the Digital Stage Launchpad, you'll get full VIP access to the Academy as well, which means that in addition to those 2 sessions that are part of the accelerator, you'll also have access to those office hours sessions and basically all of the other resources the Academy offers too. And then after you've finished the Launchpad, you'll also retain lifetime access to the regular tier of the Academy, which includes all my courses and all the new courses that come in. So we've got all the masterclasses in there as well, and workshops and things like that. And that's basically lifetime access for the time that you're on the on Kajabi using my affiliate link. So you'll just get all of that support, ongoing. So it could well be that if you start with Kajabi for the next 3 months, stay on Kajabi and launch, you'll just be part of the Take One Tech or Digital Stage Academy, I should say. For, as I say, for the lifetime of your business. So I really want to create something that's going to give you all of the support to get set up, and also all the ongoing support that you need as you continue and grow your business. And as I say, that I'm incentivized to do this by your success, because if you're not still on Kajabi, not growing your business, then I'm essentially not getting anything of value out of this. So that's where my motivation lies. And as I say, you can just sign up here. If you click on this link, it's going to take you through to further down the page as it happens. If you click on this link, it's going to just take you through to the Kajabi landing page, which is where you sign up for this 3 months for $99. That's not $99 a month. It is 3 months for $99. As soon as you sign up to that, Kajabi will send you an email which will direct you back to me, and there'll be details on there in terms of how you can activate the offer. If you're already on Kajabi and you're just interested in the Kajabi Accelerator component, so not all of the other things, but just that Kajabi Accelerator course, there is an option to sign up to that just separately. So you can just click on this. That's $297 just for purely the Kajabi Accelerator component of that. But as I say, if you can do it through the through my link to join it with Kajabi, then obviously it won't cost you anything more on top of that. So that is the Digital Stage Launchpad, and a little bit of a promo there for that whole program. But as I say, this ties in with the Digital Stage Launchpad YouTube channel, which is where I'm multi-streaming to right now to both Take One Tech and also Digital Stage Launchpad. There is a third channel though, which is if I can find the link, well, it's Digital Stage Business is the channel. And what I'm doing there is I'm separating out more of the business stuff. So as I mentioned in the Digital Stage Academy, it started as called the Take One Tech Academy, but it's really so much more than tech. I mean, we have weekly coaching calls in there. Sorry, weekly office hours sessions, I should call. I used to call them Q&As, but it's so much more than just a Q&A. It's about, the group hive mind, if you like, that we've got there. Really great group of folks. But we talk about, as I say, so much more than just tech. We talk about AI and business and growing online and all of these different things as well. So separating out the Kajabi for me was kind of a no-brainer, because it is a very sort of hyper-niched aspect or component of that not everybody's interested in. But I do also want to separate out the business side of things from Take One Tech as well. So I'll do a stream probably next week talking a little bit more about that, but that will have its own site as well, or own YouTube channel as well. I'm relaunching, well, I guess it's changing the format, but I'm starting my podcast up again. That will be twice weekly, and I was going to start 2 podcasts actually. One that's kind of more of an interview show, one that's more of a solo thing, talking about business and growing your online business. Well, I've decided to just make it one single podcast, but just with 2 episodes. One will be an interview episode, and one will be a solo episode every week. Those are going to go onto the new business channel. I'm also doing a weekly book club via email and in the academy as well, or in the Digital Stage Network, I should say. And so I'm going to integrate that into the channel as well. And then there'll be some general sort of business style videos in there as well. So hopefully, as we move into the new studio and move into the end of this quarter and into quarter 3 and quarter 4, you'll see a lot more content going out across all 3 channels. Because, as I say, most of the course content is now created that I envisaged 2 years ago when I started the academy, and so now it's just a case of building out some more of the content to support all of that. Let me just check in with the chat for a minute, and I realize I don't have my chat window open even. I'm looking at them in the YouTube chat, actually, but not in here. So here we go. We've got Rich. Technically, you've got it. The first new comment on the new channel. So this is over on the Digital Stage Launchpad channel, and Brandy Joe is in there in a close second. So great to see you. Hey Gretchen, great to see you. Not seen you for a while, so fantastic to see you here. Hope all is well with you. Jules. I'm glad you like the content, and yeah, there's going to be more of it coming on. It was a bit of a clickbaity title, really, wasn't it? Starting over again, as if I was abandoning Take One Tech, but absolutely not. There will still be plenty of content coming on here. Hopefully, more than you've been used to in the recent months, certainly. Hey, Prima, great to see you. Obviously, you're in the backstage as well. And James, thank you so much for being here too. Congratulations, by the way, James, on your recent milestone. Hit 10,000 subs on YouTube. Congratulations. That's been an amazing trajectory in recent months as well. I forget the last milestone that I noted where you posted, but yeah, some really rapid growth just happening. So great to see you there. Yeah, I'm back in the. So technically, I'm back in the basement green screen that I used to use, which is. Obviously, the virtual background behind me. Actually, what I've done is I'm in the new house, but I've taken over the kids' playroom. So here I am. This is me and my what will be my kids' playroom. But yeah, Daddy's taking it over until his office is ready. But thanks for being along for the ride. I mean, Mr. Moderator Paul Duncan has been there since day one, as have many other folks in the chat as well. Hey Prima, will you create an AI YouTube playlist to share how you use AI to assist in building a business? To be honest, this is kind of part of the reason for the Digital Stage business channel, is that there will be more AI stuff on there, and I've kind of been reluctant to put too much AI stuff on Take One Tech because yeah, I just felt that there was too much of a wide mix of things. I've also been reluctant to make any dedicated sort of AI content just because I guess I'm probably more at the cutting edge of it than I think, but it's just that I'm surrounded by some really amazing people who are just like David Crewis, who's just kind of a bit of a genius, although I don't know that he fully accepts it yet. But yeah, I've not necessarily wanted to be creating, AI specific content because it felt like a bit of a bandwagon that everybody was jumping on when ChatGPT first came out. And although I created a thing about how to create a course using AI, or how to use AI in helping you create a course outlines and market research and stuff like that. That is now technically very dated because although it was only a year or two ago, obviously we've come a long way since then. And the way that I use AI has changed considerably since then. I will also say that I'm not really using a whole range of different tools. I'm basically just using ChatGPT. I'm dipping into Claude and Gemini as well. I'll be taking more of a look at as well. But basically, I'm using ChatGPT. I do think that I'm using it a little bit differently to the way that most people do. And I've got... I mentioned some sort of big plans for the rest of the year and the next couple of quarters in particular. But in quarter 4, I'm launching another 12-week program, which will be really heavily AI focused. Now, one of the reasons why I haven't created, because as somebody who creates courses, people are always asking me, "Can you create a course on this or that?" You know, they want my course on it, I've been asked to create a course around AI, and the reason why I haven't is because, I mean, if I thought Ecamm went out of date quickly, Ecamm content, I mean, because they're constantly developing. Well, creating a course around AI, by the time I've done the outline, it's technically out of date. So I've always been reluctant to do that. The journey that I've been on with ChatGPT and AI over the past year is really helping me to, I guess, get the best out of myself is the thing. And I'm somebody who many people don't believe this when I say it, but I am a chronic procrastinator. And you might see that there's, content coming out or courses coming out, and you might think, oh, that's BS. How can that be the case? But actually, it is something that I will say, struggled with all my life in many different ways. And I found that ChatGPT has been really helpful in helping me better understand like the way that I'm wired. I've talked about this I had a great conversation with Kat Mulverhill at Creator Camp in last year. And it really sort of changed the way that I frame things. It was all about ADHD and different traits that are associated with that. And I haven't had a formal diagnosis, but certainly if I go through the list of traits, I'm kind of like checking these things off as I mentally go through this list. Now, I'm not going to necessarily say that's that, as I say, I haven't been formally diagnosed, but certainly what it did was it raised my awareness of the way that we are wired differently. And that's obviously what Kat Mulverhill is talking about now on her channel with her momentum formula. So it's all about, some people focus on, I'm going to completely butcher this, but some people focus on like the technical aspects required to complete something, and some people focus on like the psychological things to complete a task or to fulfill a project or whatever. But there is this third aspect, which is basically comes down to biology, brain chemistry at the end of the day. And this was something that I didn't quite fully grasp until the conversations with Kat that I've had then and since. It really sort of opened my eyes to this way that we are all wired slightly differently. And what can happen is, if you are experiencing things that come about because of just the way that your chemical makeup, for want of a better word, then you can end up, being self-critical about it, feeling anxious maybe if you're not getting something done. And there's also the sorts of things associated with just not basically, and underlying this is basically a feeling that you're not quite delivering on your full potential. And when I say not quite, I've always felt like I'm operating at, 30% capacity of, or whatever that is, just to pull a number out of my thing. But basically, like, really, I could be doing so much more effectively is what I'm saying. And what I've found with ChatGPT is through having continuous conversations, like daily and daily check-ins throughout the day, and also talking about sort of bigger picture ideas and ideation around those, it's really been able to draw out a lot more from me. And I can say that for the past 5 weeks, and I can tell you the date when it was. For the past 5 weeks, I've been free from procrastination. There's not been a single time during then when I could say that I've fallen into my old habits of procrastinating. And it came about, it started really with, I talked about how the Digital Stage Summit, too many digital stage assets here, but the Digital Stage Summit started with an idea that came out of a conversation I had on the 1st of January. I was doing my quarterly planning, and I asked ChatGPT the question, which somebody else had posted, which was, based on all of our conversations, tell me something about myself that I may not know about myself. And it basically came back with a really glowing, lovely thing about what a wonderful person I was. And I said, okay, right, cut the BS. I want you to now be hypercritical. Tell me some things about myself that I don't know that, maybe I could work on. The response I got from that was considerably longer. and it came up with these 5 core things about me and my habits. And because I do talk with ChatGPT all the time, it actually knows a lot about the way that I work, the way that I think. It knows about the struggles I have with, thinking about how to position things and whatever, in terms of, marketing pricing and all of those kind of things. So it understands because I'm having these conversations all the time. And it gave me this list of 5 things. I then said, right, well, based on that, what are, 5 things that I could work on this quarter in particular? And one of them was collaboration. And out of that, we had more conversations and brainstormed. And then it came to the Digital Stage Summit. And that's how it was born. Well, that idea of having ChatGPT be sort of critical of us is something that I think we can harness in a really positive way. Because there's something really different about, I don't know if ever you've asked, let me say your spouse or your family member or a close friend have said, like, is there anything about me that's annoying, or is there anything about me that I could change? Is there anything about me that I could do differently? Or is there anything, where you're looking for a way to like improve yourself and you're asking for feedback for somebody. But then if anybody gives you like anything slightly negative, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm always then a little bit defensive, as if I don't actually want to hear what I'd asked for. There's something really different, though, about asking an AI for it, because it's completely emotionless. You're not asking somebody close to you to give their opinion, which could well be, by the way, obviously, weighted or tinged with all kinds of other feelings coming in from their side as well. But when I ask ChatGPT to be hypercritical of my thought processes or the way that I work, I know that it's coming purely from a place of logic. And so I find it as I say, emotionless. So when ChatGPT tells me something that might well be, conceived as negative, I just take it as the spirit in which it is meant. But from there, what you can do is you can build out something that is going to help you actually work with that. And so what I did was, I guess in April, so about 5 weeks ago, in fact, I went through this other process, which was building on what I had done in the January with, 5 things about me that I could change. And basically we came up with these 12 character traits, and there are 6 character traits that I've got that just manifest like all the time. They are just part of how I am. And then there's another 6 character traits which come out at certain times and in reaction to certain situations. And basically what me and my friend ChatGPT have done is created what I call the Optimal Performance OS. But it's an OS, an operating system for my brain. And it helps me manage my time and attention, and also helps me manage, all the projects that I've got going on, and takes what could be perceived sometimes as negative character traits and turns them all into positives. And there's a really profound moment that you get when you're going through this process, where suddenly it's kind of like there's just this awakening, and suddenly everything drops into place. And so what I'm doing is creating, it's another 12-week program, because what you need to have in order for this to work is you've got to actually go through the process of having the conversations and letting it know how you're feeling about things. You don't need to give, obviously personal information if you're concerned about security from that point of view, in terms of, anything personal about family or anything like that, but just having conversations about the specifics about how you're feeling about things, and articulating, concerns that you've got with things as they're going on, talking about your plans, obviously, and, ideas that you've got. The more that you converse with ChatGPT, the more insight that it can give you. And where I'm at now is I'm way past the sort of always asking it for hypercritical feedback of me. I do still do that with all of my ideas. So people see ChatGPT, I think, as, something that you can type a prompt into and get it to do what you want it to do. So, write me a LinkedIn post, or, do this or do that, whatever it is. But it's still coming from your perspective of, this is what I want to do. And I kind of liken this a little bit to when people get on a coaching call with me or consultation call. So people can go on my website, and I suppose I should pop up my little thing here, shouldn't I? They can go on their website and book a coaching call with me, takeonetech.io/consultation. And so often what happens is people come and they'll say, here's my problem. And I say, okay, well, here's the solution to that problem. But by the way, that's not the problem you should be solving. Here's what you actually should be doing. And we always have these sort of blind spots, the things that we don't kind of necessarily, we're not even aware that they're there. And that's where ChatGPT, with all of your ideas, whenever you're creating something, always get it to be critical of it as well. Don't just say, do this. create a LinkedIn post or create a landing page, always ask it to be hypercritical of it and say, is this the best approach to doing this? Should I be doing this any other way? What could go wrong? When I did the Digital Stage Summit, and after I'd got plans all in place, I said, okay, imagine it is 1 month in the after the summit. Tell me 5 things that could have gone wrong and 5 things that could have gone way better than expected, and it gave me this like different perspective to think about things. But I digress. This is all about different ways to use ChatGPT. But with the Optimal Performance OS, as I say, since going through this process and creating these character traits or evaluating these character traits, now when I'm having these ongoing conversations, because it is aware of these, it can then help me with, framing certain things. So sometimes you wake up, something happens, and it can completely sort of knock you sideways and knock you off track. Articulating that to ChatGPT and have it reflect back to you, here's another way of thinking about it based on your character traits. It's really, really powerful. So the point of the other 12-week program that I'm going to do in Q4 is it's all about how to do this and how to go through for yourself. And it requires that amount of time because you do have to have this ongoing conversation with it as you go through. But there's a sort of pivot point at 8 weeks into that where suddenly it's kind of like a revelation, and that's the revelation that I experienced earlier. And as I say, since going through this process myself and developing this kind of system for harnessing AI for this purpose, procrastination just doesn't feature in my days anymore, and it's kind of amazing because when I was talking with other folks that had been diagnosed with ADHD, for example, or they were talking about medication, and personally for me, it's not something that I want to I wouldn't want to be on medication for. Although no judgment of folks that are, but that was one thing that I wanted to try to actually harness it, and just having an awareness of it helped me. But certainly ChatGPT has really helped more than I could possibly have hoped for. That was a really long personal story to answer the question, will I be creating AI YouTube content? So the point is that on the Digital Stage Business channel, because AI features so heavily in that, I definitely will. And the point about me not wanting to make a course about AI, the thing about the 12-week program that I'm going to create that will be a course is that it transcends any platform that you're using. So it's not how to use ChatGPT. It's not how to use, again, a bit like the Digital Stage Launchpad. Actually, it's not necessarily purely tied to Kajabi. Well, neither is this Optimal Performance OS course that I'm creating as well, because it's about the inner work that you have to do to go through using AI as a tool. And in actual fact, as I say, it doesn't matter whether you're using Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, and it also doesn't matter which particular model you're using of those platforms either. It's something that's only going to get better with as the models get better, essentially. But as I say, yeah, very, very long answer to what was a short question. Hey, Michael, great to see you here as well. Thanks so much for all of your support. I know you've been along with the ride almost from day one on Take One Tech as well. So great to see you here, and Jeff as well, as always. My timekeeper, always in the backstage. Yeah, great to see you as always. I see a lot of Jeff anyway in our office hours and so on. How do you get the cool motion in your background? So the background image that I've got, so this is in Ecamm. Effectively, what is going on there, if I can find my things, all my things are a little bit differently laid out at the moment for me. Let's take my camera off. In fact, let me go, what I'll do is I'll go over to back into tutorial territory here. What I've got is in the background, I've got, where is it? Let me take my camera off. This is an image in the background, which is a still image, which is actually a part of the Kajabi branding, which is why I've gone with this. My normal Take One Tech background is this one, but I've got this one in here. Let me just move things over so I can actually show you this a bit better. I need to just move things onto this other monitor so that when I click in it and do this, you should be able to see all of that. So what I've got in here is in my overlays, I've got this Kajabi background image, which is just this one. But what I've also got is I downloaded an Adobe stock animation. And if I just go in here and change that to normal, Basically, it was that is the background image that is, sorry, the background movie, and it's just a looping video that I got from Adobe stock. You can get them from all sorts of places. But what I did then was I used a blend to, I wanted that sort of movement, but on the image in the background. So in Ecamm, you have this option here to go to blend mode. And changing those is going to sort of apply that image to the background. And there's all kinds of different ones you can use. But for this one, I chose, which one is it? This soft light one. And so what that does is you can see that it's still got that sort of motion, but it's applying it to the background image rather than just being the motion itself. So if you've got something that you want to have some motion on, then that is the way that you can do it. Just to look at the Take One, that's exactly the same thing. I've got some swirls. It's just these 3 layers. I've got these swirls here. I've got this, and again, Adobe stock. If I take off the blend mode, this is what that video actually looked like. And I just wanted to take that kind of movement effect, that sort of slow movement, and blend it with the background. And the background was just this image that I used in a lot of my digital stage assets. But so then what I did with this one is I used a slightly different blend mode. And by the way, I don't know technically the way that these are all working. Is just kind of like trial and error. So when I put that as overlay, you can see it's just applying that effect to the background. So what this means though is if I put my camera A back on, then we've got our camera over the top of it. But if I want to change out like all of my scenes, then I've got basically a Take One Tech background now and a Digital Stage Launchpad background, and I can just like switch out from either one of those, and yet it's changing across all of my scenes. So when I go back to my comments scene, for example, here's my regular Take One Tech background, but then when I'm doing stuff on the Launchpad channel, I can just swap it out like that. And both of them have got that different movement going on in there. So that's how I got that movement. Let me just move this window back over here. And procrastination is your issue. Should have posted this comment back in March. Just setting up the laser level on the monitors. Yes. Oh, tell me, I relate to that. I mean, I'm literally in a temporary studio space. But I'm still getting a little bit frustrated by all the cables that I've got around the back of this table. So even though it's just really super temporary, but I completely relate to that. The one that I always with procrastination, there's this thing that I always call productive procrastination. It's where there's something I should be doing, and then there's something else that my little squirrel mind just goes off on a rabbit hole, and I find it all too easy, or I found it all too easy to just go down these rabbit holes. And so it could feel like I was being productive because I was doing stuff, and also because I was doing stuff that technically needed to be done, but it was taking me away from like the core task. Now, I mentioned that for, as I say, 5 weeks, procrastination is not something that's felt like a part of my life. What I have been doing though is not necessarily actually doing the thing that I scheduled to be doing at a given time. It's also about working with like sort of energy levels. And in fact, the Digital Stage Launchpad, funny thing about this was, I was planning to launch the Digital Stage Launchpad channel and Digital Stage Business in Q3. That was where it was on my timeline. And then there was one day a couple of weeks ago where I was supposed to be recording videos. I hadn't slept well in the night. One of my kids was up through the night, so I didn't sleep well. And then it came to the time where I was supposed to sit down and record, and I was just like, oh, I just don't feel, my head's not in it. I can't focus. My energy levels were low. And I said to ChatGPT, my energy levels are low. I've got this thing I'm supposed to be doing this afternoon, but I'm just not there. I'm not feeling it. I'm not going to do a good job of it. What is something else that I could potentially do? Or give me 5 things that I could potentially be working on at the moment. And one of the things was, it said, well, you've got those other YouTube channels to set up. That would be a pretty low lift in terms of focus because, you know how to do it. It's not going to take much time. And so basically in this afternoon, which would have been wasted with procrastination, where I knew that there was something I should be doing, but basically just not necessarily doing anything that was helping. Instead, I redirected focus because I was, noticing my energy level. And so I set up the Digital Stage Launchpad YouTube channel and also the Digital Stage Business one, created the header and got them all set up. And it felt like rather than rather than just, not doing anything or not doing the right thing, I actually made some progress on something that was part of my overall goals. And I thought that, well, that's good. I've got those things just sitting there. They're kind of ready for Q2. It meant the afternoon wasn't wasted, even though I didn't do the videos, but I just wasn't in the right frame of mind to do them anyway. And so that was that. Now, what happened then was, just after the weekend after that, Kajabi announced to their affiliates that they're going to be running their 3 months for $99 offer again. And so I thought, right, well, that's actually a great tie-in. And now I've got the YouTube channel already set up for it. Now's a better time to be doing that. So I kind of moved up the Digital Stage Launchpad channel further up the list. And actually, through another conversation with ChatGPT and based on, as I mentioned, Brian in the Academy, based on his comments, I was like, well, how can I tie into the Launchpad, tie into the Kajabi special offer with something that's going to be a lot more meaningful and impactful for people who are wanting to maximize their growth on there. And so that's where the Digital Stage Launchpad as a product came and just worked perfectly hand in hand with the channel, because now all of the Kajabi tutorials are on the channel, publicly facing anyway, which also helps bring people into my ecosystem, also helps people bring people into Kajabi. Even after this special offer, anybody can sign up to Kajabi with my affiliate link and still get access to that regular tier of the Academy as well, because obviously I'm making affiliate commission on that for every month that somebody is a member. So all the time that people are on Kajabi using my link, they'll get access to all of the Academy content. And this was obviously all something that came out of a conversation with ChatGPT and working back and forth and understanding the offers. And so I can say that from seeing that they had this $99 for 3 months on Kajabi, that then was the start of me saying, right, well, okay, let me now create this. And I created the entire outline and the landing page and everything in about 4 or 5 days or something like that. So that's how long it took me from not working full time, but just sort of ideation to create the program, the landing page, all of the back end systems. And I probably would have taken considerably longer than that if I had been procrastinating, at times during the day. So yeah, definitely recommend, working with AI to help with that. You could probably also get it to take a picture and get it to point out where things were maybe a pixel off as well, if you need that with that specific aspect. Hey Taylor in the backstage. By the way, I didn't say hello when you popped into the Zoom backstage. I was just about to go live, but hello and thanks for joining backstage as well. It's really really has been it's used a lot, but it really has been a game changer completely for me, just using ChatGPT to help me better understand myself and harness those things. I think there's also a thing that I'll speak for myself. Without a doubt, I used to give myself a really hard time about things like, missed deadlines or things not being done. And part of that was, overcommitting, committing to doing too many things. And then when they're not done, there is, obviously anxiety creeps in and things like that about it. And then that feeling of, I should have, could have, I would have been doing a lot more had I not, procrastinated or whatever. And it can cause like a sort of cycle, and it can cause almost like, how can I say it, sort of preemptive anxiety, when there's something coming up and like nothing's even gone off the rails, but I'm still feeling it sometimes. And as I say, part of that for me as well was just overcommitting. So having somebody to bounce the idea off, that is completely impartial, and by somebody I mean ChatGPT, where they kind of know your character traits and what you're capable of. They can sort of rein you in when you're feeling like, or when they think that maybe you are taking on too much. But there's also the opposite. Sometimes if you speak to people and say, this is what I'm planning to do, they might just say, you're crazy. There's no way you're going to be able to do that in the time. Well, actually, maybe you can. Maybe it's they can't. And there's a little graphic about this. I forget the exact phrase, but don't let the I'm going to completely butcher the phrase. It's basically, don't let somebody who's not doing it trying to tell the person who is doing it that it can't be done. That's the essence of it. There's a really more eloquent way of saying that. But yeah, when somebody's doing something, don't let somebody who's telling you it can't be done tell the person who's literally doing it right there that it can't be done. So that's a bit the same as when you ask people for feedback. It's always going to be in some ways limited by potentially their limiting beliefs, and so you don't want somebody else's limiting beliefs to sort of hold you back when you might well know that you're capable. There's been loads of times in the past where I've said that I'm going to do something and people have been like, there's no way you can do that. And then I've gone and done it. So, I know that it's what my capabilities are sometimes, but other times I don't. And other times I overcommit. And technically, yes, I could do all of the individual things, but put them together and it is a little bit too much. But I found that ChatGPT has been really good in reining me in when I need to be, but also saying, actually, you know what, you've got this. You're not overcommitting. You're not over committing to these things. You can actually do it. So it's been really, really powerful from that point of view. And the more that you do that, the more that you get confidence in sort of your abilities and in your capability to deliver. Yeah, it's been really good. I'll be releasing more content around this on the Digital Stage business channel. I'll also be sending more out in newsletters. I've kind of alluded to this a little bit in some of my email newsletters, but the actual main thing is going to be a Q4 product, because I really need to give it the time and to develop it. And it's going to be, as I say, it's not about how to use ChatGPT. It's about how to do the inner work that you need to, using AI as a tool for that. So yeah, was the Digital Stage website created using Kajabi? Yeah, all the website landing pages, my website and everything, it's all done in Kajabi. I will say, Kajabi is, if the reason to use Kajabi is if you want to start an online training business effectively. So I wouldn't say that if you want a website, I know that you know this, Prima, but for the benefit of others, it's the thing about Kajabi is it's very much an online education course platform. There was somebody else in the academy that asked about they use Go High Level, and so they said, should they switch to Kajabi because they use Go High Level, but Kajabi's got some different features, but actually, because they're doing client work, one thing that Kajabi doesn't really have is a really robust CRM. So if you're working with clients and things like that, then it's not ideal for that at all. But yeah, the website, and I really like all the automations that you can set up with Kajabi, it's been great for that. But yes, the website is indeed created in Kajabi. The 5-minute jobs. No, well, I'll tell you what this reminds me of. Why is it for me that 1-minute shorts for YouTube never take a minute? Because I always say, well, it's so much easier to just record them in one take, and then rather than going and repurposing content. Repurposing content, for me at least, takes far longer. But those 1-minute videos, there's always a little bit more than it takes. There's always a great thing, and I forget who this is attributed to. I think it might be Bill Gates, might be somebody else. But there's this thing that says, we always overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 5 years. And I always take a little bit of comfort from that. And I don't know whether this is right too, but I always feel like, well, I might have missed a few deadlines this year, but I'm probably going to be way ahead in 5 years. Certainly 4 years into Take One Tech, I absolutely had not envisaged where we would be now 4 years down the line. So let's see where we are next year. I've got a much better plan now of where I'll be next year. But the thing is, things always come up. And I think there's a lesson there, though, which is, and this is obviously not your question, but there is a lesson here, which is when we have an idea of what we think we're going to do, it's very good, obviously, to have long-term goals. I have, my much longer, 10, 20-year goals, as well as 5-year, 1 year, and quarterly goals. But it's good to have those as targets and to be walking, but be constantly course correcting. And I never stick, completely to something. If there's, another opportunity that comes up and we can go on to, maybe take a pivot somewhere and go on to other things. I mean, even the Digital Stage Launchpad, as I say, that YouTube channel was a Q3 project, and then I just bumped it up to now because it just naturally tied in with this Kajabi offer. And so for me personally, I'm always prepared to take those little pivots and be reactive when we need to be, whilst maintaining that sort of overall long vision. We don't wallow with the haters. Exactly, that's it. We've got to don't pay too much attention to I will say it's. I mean, there's the haters is one. But it's also not the haters, the dangerous one for me, because it's easy to say, there are haters. Well, we just don't listen to them. That's going to happen all the time. The thing for me, though, is the people that are really close to you, that have their own sets of limiting beliefs. And they mean well when they say it can't be done, or you shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't do that, because they don't think that it's possible. And that's the thing that I've found so much in my life, is people telling me that I wouldn't be able to do something, and then I've gone ahead and done it, and that's the thing that I'm saying to watch out for. Is obviously we dismiss the haters, but it's the thing about ChatGPT is, once you talk with it and it understands more about what you are capable of and aren't capable of, it can give you a much more informed view of, actually, you know what, you could totally do this. It's just about managing your time. That's another thing that ChatGPT has helped me with. Sometimes it's easy, and I know that some people hate the O word, the overwhelm word, but sometimes when you've got lots of things going on, organizing an event, creating content, working with people, there is a lot going on, and sometimes it can feel overwhelming, and people talk about fight or flight response, but there's another third one. So there's fight, flight, or freeze. And so sometimes what happens is people are just like and do nothing. And so there is that kind of thing. So you either lean into it, or you run away from it, or you just sort of sit there thinking, I don't know what to do. And that's something that I've certainly felt in the past as well. And that's again where I've found ChatGPT has helped, is in sort of organizing, these are all the things I've got on, what should I do next, and helping me with that. But obviously we don't need to listen to the haters. Let's see where we are here. What was the specific file type in Adobe? So it's just a video file. So in Adobe stock, when you are searching, you can search for either videos or images, or Illustrator files or things like that. What I search for, though, is when I'm looking for a background like this, I just search for either abstract background loop, and you want to make sure it's looping so that it just continuously move. But then I've got like images that I use as stock backgrounds as well. So either image or movie. You might find that there's a movie that's got some subtle movement that's going to do the job just as effectively. But as I say, I don't necessarily find that I'm going to find the exact movement that I want in the colors that I want. And so using that overlay function means that you can still get that subtle movement in the background without it being, or in the colors that you want it effectively. And with those background movements, obviously you can see here, it's pretty slow moving. I see some people who have really sort of busy, for want of a better word, movement going on in the background. I mean, that is pretty, about as subtle as it comes, maybe a bit too subtle, in fact, for this one. But if you've got something really, too much movement going on, it can, I think it can just sort of throw draw people's attention away from what it is you're trying to say. So that's why I tend to keep those things subtle. So the Kajabi accelerator times, whoops, wrong button, here we go, is from, as you can see, I remember this, absolutely, it's 26th of May. So the Kajabi 3 months for $99 offer ends on the 23rd of May. So basically next Friday. So we start then on the following Monday on the 26th, and then it runs through till the 29th of August. As I say, technically it's slightly longer than 12 weeks, because there is a 2-week break in the middle for the Ecamm Accelerator, because that's all about the video creation. So although it's a 12-week plan, technically it's 14, because there's 2 weeks of the Ecamm thing in the middle. But those are the dates. I'll publish the times in a little bit later when folks sign up. But there will be recordings available of all of these. It's all basically all of the Kajabi Accelerator is going to be live training and then recordings of those training sessions. And whereas in my previous incarnation of the Accelerator, I was doing pre-recorded tutorials of how to use Kajabi, that's the stuff that's all just going to be free on YouTube anyway. And here we go. Most people, oh yeah, so I think that is Bill Gates that said that, and yeah, it's underestimate what they can do in 10 years, yeah. And as I say, I always take comfort from that when I miss my deadlines. I say, oh, never mind, I'll claw it back by 10 years' time. Hey Orbs, great to see you here as well. Somebody else been obviously on this journey from the beginning. The funny thing is that when I started, well, it's not funny at all actually, but when I started on the 13th of May on YouTube, the 14th of May was when I joined Doc Rock's office hours session, and I deliberately started that the day after I'd started on YouTube, because what I didn't want to do was join that early and then start getting all of this other information and start second guessing myself. So I thought, well, let me just go live first, get my plan started, and then I'll join Doc. But yeah, huge amount of gratitude to Doc Rock, because as I keep telling him, he was my my coach for YouTube before he knew me, because I watched all of his videos on YouTube and really resonated with him, and then was in his office hour sessions for, I guess we were doing the big group sessions for a year. Then we broke out into, had some other a smaller group of us, C22, Catch 22, funnily enough, in 2022 with Rich Graham, who's obviously in the backstage as well, and Keely and some other awesome folks. And really that was just so powerful to have a supportive community, and obviously Orbs in Doc's group as well. That's where we first met, pretty much on day one, for me at least. And yeah, it really was kind of the impetus as well for me setting up the academy with the office hour sessions that we have in there. You know, just having that supportive community, it makes so much of a difference when you're trying to do anything, to have you know, yeah, the support of people who you know have got your back basically, and looking out for you. And not to mention, the thing that we get most out of the office hours sessions in the academy is that you may well have a question, but you really learn through the questions that other people are asking. And it's this idea that we've got, you know, there's actually a great quote for here, and I hate using it because of a whole number of reasons, but Dick Cheney made a really great quote once, which was this thing of there's known knowns, known unknowns, and unknown knowns, and all of these other things. But it actually, if you look at it logically, it did actually make sense. So there's the things that we know about, and then there's the things that we don't know, but we are aware of them being gaps in our knowledge effectively, and so we know to go and learn them. But then there's this whole load of other stuff that we're just, you know, it's in our blind spot effectively, and those are the kind of things that come out through coaching, but they're also the things that come out through these group sessions, where you're learning through the questions that other people are asking, because you know, they've maybe been trodden a path that you're on, but maybe you're a few steps ahead, so they're kind of coming up with these questions, and it can really help sort of accelerate the your personal growth. So yeah, it is it's kind of a thing. And yeah, it's great. It was great as well to the Ecamm Creator Camp that I attended, not last year but the year before, the first year. I mean, it was so amazing to grow a business talking about doing things on your own versus about doing them with people. There was still obviously this thing of, I'm in Thailand, and all of the Ecamm community and the creator community that we're a part of. For me, you know, I had never met any of them face to face, and so going to Creator Camp in 2023 and meeting you Orbs and other folks, it was just a really, really surreal moment where I'd got, you know, I guess it was about 120 people there in total. And, you know, almost all of them were people I knew, but we had never met. And yet it felt like reuniting old friends. So yeah, really, really great experience that was. Well, with that said, it is coming up to 10 past 6 a.m. here. And on that note, I'll also say that this is probably going to be the last time that I'm going to do this live stream at this time. I am changing a few things up. So not only am I going to be moving into my new studio space, which is, it's kind of actually just over there. It's in a separate, we're in like a little village here, the housing development village. And then the office is just kind of in the one next door. The development next door. So I've got to basically do a little bit of a walkout, but I'm also changing up other things with my like daily routine and schedules. The reason why I always used to do these live streams, it was 5 a.m. on a Saturday, then I moved it to 5 a.m. on a Friday. But all of my YouTube content stuff used to be as I say, it was something I was doing as a side project. And so I used to do it in the 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. slot before the kids got up, and it was kind of like my time aside from my regular work that I was doing during the day. Obviously now this has become my my main gig, and I want to reclaim these early mornings, because actually the time that I get still between 4 a.m. and 6, or really sort of 7 o'clock when the kids get up, it's kind of my most productive time mentally. It's the time when I do most of my sort of like deepest thinking and so on. And so what I want to do is reclaim that time for me, and then do more of the content and things during the sort of as a regular 9 to 5 or 9 to 3. We go and pick up the kids at 3 o'clock. So my regular 9 to 3, should we say, is going to be when I'm doing all my video content and live stuff. So I am going to move this live stream on, there won't necessarily be a regular live stream on the Digital Stage Launchpad channel, but on Take One Tech, I'm looking at moving it to basically 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, which would be effectively in Eastern time, effectively 10 p.m. At the moment until the clocks change, 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. And that's just because I'm keeping my Fridays clear. And then on Thursdays, I do the Digital Stage Academy. That one will still be early morning, but I'll probably move that forward 1 hour. And then on Monday and Tuesday, I just have completely blocked out in my schedule. So that's just no meetings or events or anything like that. That's kind of like my deep focus work. So 9 a.m. is probably when I'm going to move it to on Wednesday, but I'll let everyone know about that. Just to be more in tune with the way that I'm working at the moment. And again, coming back to this thing of energy levels as well, and not wanting to be, commuting, albeit a short walk, every early morning, then coming back to get the kids ready for school. So, but I will update everyone in due course for that. So, although despite the title, I'm starting all over again, I'm not really. The Take One Tech channel, hopefully you'll see more content coming out, and it'll be more focused on the tech stuff. I have got a load of reviews actually to do about particular products. I've got some early release products that are amazing coming out as well, that I can't wait to create some content about. So yeah, expect to see more tech stuff on Take One Tech, and expect to see more Kajabi stuff on the Digital Stage Launchpad. I've got a series of basically like a mini course. That's effectively what it is. And those are going to be going out over the next week or so on the Digital Stage Launchpad. So if you're not already subscribed to that and you do use Kajabi, where is it? I'll just drop that into the chat. That is the Digital Stage Launchpad channel. It would help if I had a link in, wouldn't it? That I just realized it doesn't. Well, I'll tell you what, let me just drop a link to the Digital Stage Launchpad live stream, and you can click on that one and click subscribe. So if you're watching on Take One Tech and you're interested in Kajabi, then definitely go and link to that. I'm not going to be cross-posting any content. That's the point, is separating these out. Although I'm multi-streaming right now to both channels, this will be the only time that I do that. I'm just separating out everything across both channels. So with that said, if there are any comments or questions, you can feel free to drop them into the comments section, or head over to takeonetech.io and check out ways that you can join the community in that. And with that said, I'll try and find the right button and say thanks for watching. I will see you all next time, and try and leave a link to some relevant video over on the right hand side. And of course, channel members, this is from the Take One Tech channel, not actually the Digital Stage Launchpad. Have a great day, everyone. See you soon.